Hi guys, what's going on? And welcome back to another episode of Total War Arena. So, we are back with Carthaginians. We're now up to the tier 7s with the, what they're called, the Libyan Infantry. So I'm kind of disappointed with these guys, first things off. That's my main initial impression. So if you watched my video, well, I've done a handful of videos on the tier 6 on the Iberian Rebels. And I really like them because they sort of have that really hard hitting with Ad Portus. It's kind of like that mini Vengeance. But they also had really good mobility, really good movement speed, which kind of allowed them to get into combat, get out of combat, you know, pick and choose where you go on the map, and that was kind of nice. As these guys are moving to like an entirely heavy infantry, the more like the Roman armoured legionaries type tetry, and they just lose all that mobility. If we take a look at the stats, their base movement speed was 3.3. Thankfully, I had the Greaves that carried over, which are very much needed to give that 8% movement speed buff. She's bringing my base up to, what, 3.8. That's still pretty slow, and I've not got any dash or anything like that. I've lost my dash ability. Obviously, we have Force March, which does make them bearable just about. They move at an acceptable speed in a straight line. But mobility is a bit more than just a movement speed. They also accelerate really slowly. They have a really poor turning speed. They're just very sluggish and immobile, and that's kind of really a disappointment with them. And then I don't feel that their aggression and defense abilities make up for this, really. You know, if we look, things like their melee weapon damage is okay. You know, melee attack's actually pretty good for them. But then their defense isn't that high, their body armor 142. I have got an upgrade to do which down here, which is going to give me another 17. But again, you know, we're not really competing with the Roman heavy infantry, who basically exceed these. You've got the immobility of the Roman heavy infantry, but you haven't got the sort of aggression stats of them quite. So yeah, in that sense, I feel that they're kind of lacking a little bit, and I'm not super impressed with them. They're not terrible, but I don't think they are as good as they were at tier 6. I wish that the tetry kind of followed more like the tier 6 medium infantry. That's kind of what I wanted them to be. Other things I felt really disappointed was the strikes change from slam to slash. And, you know, slam is just easily, bar hamstring is just one of the best strikes in the game because it does that movement speed modifier to the enemy. And that's just so excellent. But yeah, slash, again, is just a pretty irrelevant strike. Obviously, use it to get that little bit extra damage, but as strikes go, not particularly helpful. But some good things, we have javelins, and you get 3 of them, so better than the Romans in that sense. 50 meters targeting range, you know, they're pretty decent javelins. I do like having them, they're kind of nice to have. And we get shield screen back as well, which gives us that plus 40 missile block chance, which is something that the tier 6s were lacking. They were kind of vulnerable to missiles. But, you know, it's worth pointing out, have I got the upgraded shield? Yes, I have, as good as it's going to be. It's still not enough to give me 100 missile block chance. Where's missile block chance? There it is. So I'm at, what, 43, so I'm going to go to 83. So you can block most missiles, but you're still going to be taking some damage from archers and javelins if they really want to try and have a go at you. Consumable-wise, I am running them with Anatha Blessing. Obviously, it is the consumable to pick with the Carthaginian infantry. You should always be running with Anatha Blessing. It's just got such a massive amount of melee attack and weapon damage. And melee defense is just such an awesome consumable. Should always be taking that. And then I went with the Sacrifice because... basically because the movement speed really is what I wanted. It was kind of a bit of a tougher choice on this one because you do have the down payment, which gives you that bit of body armor and the penetration damage, which is obviously like base weapon damage. The morale, not particularly useful. It's a bit of a tough one, but then really the problem with these guys is they're just so slow that I really wanted that movement speed buff. Particularly at 7% is quite high, and you know, melee attack's kind of useful. We don't have a charge, so the impact damage is completely useless. But the movement speed and the melee attack is kind of useful because you can see we've got quite a good melee attack with these guys, like well over 130. So yeah, pretty decent in that sense. Okay, I think I've waffled on long enough with these guys, so let's hop into a battle and see if we can actually have sort of a semi-decent game with them. So we are loading in on the Oasis map. Doesn't look like we have got very generous matchmaking at all. Looks like we're one of the few tier 7s in this game. Where am I going to go? I didn't really want to be spawning here. Got a bit of friendly infantry around the centre. I certainly don't want to be getting caught out on my own, being mostly tier 8, so I'm up against. I sort of want to be playing this a bit more careful, staying with support and stuff. Just kind of why I'm spawning here. Let's have a quick look at the speed. So if we activate Force March, we get up to movement speed 4.37. It's not so bad. But it's more like that, you know, if I change direction, oh, and there we go. It's just like very sluggish, very slow to get moving, and the lack of a dash is kind of frustrating as well. It's just kind of like, particularly, you know, obviously you just cannot enter a forest in the slightest. These are classed as heavy infantry, not medium. So if you go into a forest, you get massive debuffs to your melee attack and stuff like that. It's pretty crippling if you go into a forest. Those cavalry are going to regret that move. Straight into the Romans. So yes, they're pretty painful in that sense. It is my problem with them. But let's weigh ourselves out a little bit at the back. Hopefully we're not going to get shot at by these archers. Obviously, if you've got force march on, you do lose missile block chances. Be a bit careful of that. So there's elephants over there. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to go for, to be honest. Just hang here for the moment and stay with our tier 8 archers. We can probably turn force march off and just activate a shield screen. Gives us our missile block chance. It's quite a cool little move. This is similar to Testudo sort of formation, just raise the shields above the head. Where am I going to go? You do lose a lot of movement speed with it though. I think that brings us down to what, 2.29. Wow. So yeah, so you really need to have that activated. So let's think about moving down this way then. There's a few war dogs and spears down there. I'd fight them probably. These enemy archers over here are a bit of a pain, so let's try and push a bit wider if we can. I don't want to get caught by these guys. I want to stay out for their range. It's going to take me. That didn't go quite according to plan, but still, it doesn't matter. I think we should be okay around here. And then we're going to start pushing down here. I'm just looking for something to engage. Well, there's not a ton of archers, but there are more archers there. See, if you remember in that last video, I was able to catch those tier 6 archers with the tier 6 Carthaginians because obviously the movement speed. You know, these guys stand no chance of catching enemy archers. You're never going to be able to chase them off the field. All you can do is sort of weather their fire. So we are coming up on these war dogs. Let's have a look. I will fight these guys. Shame I haven't got a javelin. A little bit of damage in. We should slaughter these war dogs relatively easily. Let's go for a strike. Let's go for those war dogs over there. You can see they slaughter war dogs like that pretty easily. You know, these are heavy infantry. Look at the amount of damage we're doing, 200 per hit. They're good for this sort of thing. Obviously, it would have been better if I had these war dogs. Where are the war dog handlers? They've probably got ambush activated, so my strikes aren't going to be very effective on them. We can have a go. No, that looks like they haven't got ambush activated. So there's the handlers. So we are being threatened by enemy archers, which is the biggest problem I've got here. Let's start to deal with some of these handlers. I can go pressure these archers possibly, but I can't catch them. Let's throw some javelins in. I don't know why it requires that sound to throw javelins. For some reason, it does. You fight you. You fight you. You both go in with an ad portus. You're going to go in with an ad portus as well. Let's try and fight these tier 7 spears head on. This is kind of an interesting choice of a fight. Oh, we're going to get rear flanked. Oh, well, we've got unroutable activated with our determination for the moment. So let's just try and flatten these war dogs. We're going to suffer a bit in the rear from those spearmen, but we shouldn't get a rear flank because spearmen in phalanx don't cause rear flanking modifiers. Obviously, we're suffering from the arrows, but we're going to rout an enemy dog unit there, look. So hopefully we're going to get a bit of damage on them. I'm just trying to weather the fire. There's not really a lot I can do other than that. I'm never going to be able to capture those guys. We're killing these tier 8 handlers, and these are a higher tier unit than us. And it's accruing us a nice amount of points. It would just be nice if something could do something about these archers, please. Should probably think about pulling some units away. Come on, kill these stupid handlers. Okay, archers. Let's go for a... Get some javelins in them. At least gives them a slowdown. Come on, guys. Maybe those archers aren't going to be paying attention. Push right into them, push right into them, push right into them. Get as much damage as we can. Not enough, unfortunately. But we've still got a little bit of damage on them. Okay, let's push one unit into there and push you two up that way in pursuit. So now we're going to weather a lot of fire in chasing these guys. But we should get the flanking modifier on these guys. Oh, there you go, nice. That's they were at it. We'll go for determination for that bit of extra melee attack. Where are those guys going to go? I'm not doing anything useful here other than just chasing them off. If that could be classed as being useful. So, let's get you guys moving that way. Okay, let's try and get out of this, get away from these archers then. It's not going to work well for us. This is just giving our sort of full strength unit a bit of a chance to escape. We are winning this battle slightly. We've got ourselves a nice amount of points. You know, when you get into combat like that, they are good in combat, don't get me wrong, you know. I mean, as you saw, like against those handlers, against the war dogs, you know, very effective in that sort of situation. God, these guys are getting slaughtered. Maybe I can hide behind this house. Let's try and do that. Oh, those guys have come back. Oh, I should really do something about that, shouldn't I?
Ready! Cease fire! We're attacking our allies!
It's just, they're just so painfully slow.
Swordsmen! Swordsmen! Swordsmen!
Come on, guys.
Bombard them!
Ah, cavalry. Good.
We are under attack!
That is definitely what we needed.
Swordsmen!
I'm going to routing at this rate. My determination. Turn off my force march. I think I forgot to turn force march off on that unit when I got into combat there. Not so good. It's a shame. Well, it's not a shame. It can be annoying in some sense that it doesn't deactivate like it used to, particularly when you forget like I do. Obviously, Hannibal is dead as well, which is probably a bit of a bad move. That means I've lost Ab Portus. It's a close old battle. We should have these enemy archers pinned down now if these cavalry can have a bit of a go at them. Although they're actually kind of struggling. I've only got two infantry left alive to get stuck into combat. So we've got some Numidians. I've not got any javelin throws left. Have I got anyone to meet up with? Let's probably pull back to the rest of our friendly infantry. It gives us a bit of support there, and you know, at least we can probably provide a little bit. Oh, they routed in the end. Still, the rest of our cavalry got those archers. That's what we really want to achieve, because they were a pain. And that's kind of ultimately the problem. Even though you have a shield screen, you know, yes, it's useful. The shield screen is obviously useful, but you know, then you can't really commit to anything. Because seem to get into a fight like we did with those dog handlers, you're still getting mullered by the enemy missile fire there. So shield screen is only useful while you're sort of waiting around trying to make a decision. Oh, that's enemy cavalry. Did we maybe get a bit of damage on one of his units? Oh, I got one. Got one unit. So, see, more problems, more enemy archers, Scythian archers at tier 7, and our archers, our Pontic archers are struggling. We have some noble cavalry, and they don't have a tremendous amount in terms of infantry kicking around. And capping out could probably be a fairly strong option at the moment. I should have thought, we do have these pikemen, which are fairly good options. So let's keep clear of these guys, because obviously I want them to be able to properly deploy. So I'll be better focusing on the unit on the flanks, because I don't want to get all the friendly fire that's associated with running into a pike phalanx. Oh, they didn't get them down. They did get it down. Oh, those in the barbarian swordsmen made an error there. Let's go for these handful of armoured legionaries in the back. We'll go for our determination. It gives us a little bit of more extra melee defence. Oh, enemy warband has turned up there. Let's try and kill these Romans. They are in vengeance though, so we shouldn't really be doing this. Let's see how we're faring. Not too bad. I mean, if we had Portus on, we'd be really winning this fight. They are only tier 6, so hopefully that's just enough for us to outplay them in terms of tier. There we go. Oops. Okay, so where are we at? These enemy archers are trying to make a break from the out of the game, and I forgot to turn my stupid force march off again. So let's try and just pressure these guys. They've got to make a move then, haven't they? They've got to run back through friendlies. Right, let's turn that off like we should do all the time. And let's just fight our way through here. Let's go for a strike. Doosh. Obviously, the strike is good. There's nothing wrong with the strike. It's just I would much rather have a proper strike like Slam, because it's just such an amazing strike. That movement speed is just lovely. Okay, so we're just going around trying to keep cap points and just trying to mop up the remaining enemies here. Obviously, we've got a good amount of points in this game. 3,600 aggression, not too bad. And we should get a few cap points as well. Although it looks like pretty much we've definitely won this battle now. And that guy's running away. I'll probably stay in the cap circle. Let's just hide over here. Well, that was certainly a bit of a tough start with those war dogs and archers. Yeah, again, that's kind of just to prove that the vulnerability of these heavy infantry archers, they're not that arch-proof. Even with shield screen, you know, it's not all that useful, really, I don't think, in many fights. I mean, it's kind of true, I guess, the same with Testudo, but I mean, the problem with this is, well, it doesn't even meet the 100% missile block chance, so, you know, you can't really just stand there, because archers and javelins can still throw and slowly accrue up damage. Not as much as maybe as they'd like, but, you know, soon stacks up if you're just standing there taking fire, so I don't think it's that useful at the moment. So what have the enemy got left? A handful of cavalry. Well, I'm happy to wait because I'm getting some nice few cap points all the time. Making this into a nice little battle. Some of the tier 8 Numidian cavalry, we had a video on them not too long ago. I quite like these guys. Certainly going to be playing them a little bit more in the future with their javelin throw. It's almost like a one-man duel, I thought there for a moment. It didn't seem to work out.
The barbarians must fall.
Quite a few guys in our base now. It looks like we're going to cap out unless these guys go for a charge. Well, they just walked into the pikes. all that works.
Victory is near.
The one little unit of armoured legionary running away. And there we go. The cap is now imminent. Oh, throw some javelins. Got a little bit of a reset. Not going to be enough to win in the battle. Oiled Zeus. Oh, that was a bit of a better charge. But there we go. We won on the base cap and victory. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview of these guys. So yeah, as I say, fine once they're in combat. You know, they are decent, solid, heavy infantry in that sense. You know, there's nothing wrong with them. They have good melee attack, which is nice because that means they always seem to stand a reasonable chance of applying damage quite well in battle. There we go, level 10. Which is good, but it's the mobility that's a real killer for me. You know, thank God they have force march. If they didn't have that, that would just be truly shocking. But they certainly, I feel like they could do with a lot more mobility. I'd much rather they had a little bit less armor and attack, and they were a medium infantry rather than a heavy infantry. You know, it also means forests are just sort of unworkable. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to getting on to the tier 7s back with some sort of proper medium barbarian type infantry where we're going to have back a lot more mobility. Look at that, 4.2 as a base movement speed. It looks so lovely. And they get a slam back. Oh, I can't wait. So yeah, looking forward to the tier 8s. Yeah, these guys are fine. I'm going to play through them. But they're not my favourites. I much prefer the tier 6s. And that's pretty much my overview of these guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel for lots more Total War Arena content. And thanks guys, I shall see you all on the next video.